Hello everybody, this is Graeme, and today I'm going to be looking at Dabba Walla. Now, as soon as I saw this front cover, I knew I had to give this one a try. I've always been intrigued by the Dabbas and their delivery system. So Dabbas are kind of an Indian lunchbox. You can kind of see them here on this guy's cart and what he's carrying down here. They're kind of, like I said, an Indian lunchbox where your lunch is going to be packed and kept warm in these metal cylinders, and it's usually going to be a home-cooked meal. It's going to be picked up by the Dabba Wallas, who you play in this game, and they're going to be delivered to your office at lunchtime. So the theme had me right there. For the gameplay, it's a game of, I wouldn't exactly say two halves, but two parts. The first part is going to be picking up the orders from cards that are going to be placed around the board. These cards allow you to pick up a polynomial piece representing an order, and you need to place it into your cart, of course, within the boundaries of your cart. The cards you collect not only tell you which piece to load into your cart, but are also going to be used during the second half of the game for scoring. In the second half, each layer of your cart, players are going to secretly be playing a card which will alter the scoring of the different types of Dabbas. When the market has been updated, players deliver all the Dabbas from their current level and score the points accordingly. Now, this looks to be like a game definitely on the lighter side and definitely quick, and I hope I was going to enjoy this one. So, will this game be like a nice light snack, or will it just kind of sit in your belly and wishing you hadn't eaten it? Let's get it to the table, see how it's played, and I'll come back with my final thoughts on Dabba Walla. Here's Dabba Walla set up. The main board is in the middle of the table with the three boxes holding all the Dabba tiles. Players decide as a group on which vehicle they're all going to use, and I'm going to be showing the suggested one here. Each player takes their color components and place their level marker on the height marker of 1. Each player also takes 6 tickets. The Dabba cards are all shuffled and make a stack according to the player count. Deal 6 cards face up to the 6 cutouts on the main board, and then each player takes 2 cards off the top. On a player's turn, they're going to move their Dabba Walla. Then, they will take the card at the spot that they stop at. At the beginning of the game, you can start at any of the 6 stations, but on subsequent turns, you get 1 free movement in either direction. If you wish to go further than 1 space, you can as long as you spend tickets. So to move more than 1 spot, place a ticket on each space that you skip. When you finish moving, you're going to take the card and any tickets on that card and add them to your hand. Replace the card on the main board. Now the cards do show 2 pieces of information. The top part is the Dabba tile you received during the pickup phase, this phase, and the bottom will be used during the delivery phase, which I'll talk about in a bit. Once you've taken your card, you're going to play your card out of your hand and receive the Dabba tile depicted on it, and add it to your cart. The card is then discarded to your personal discard pile. You're going to reuse these cards in the next phase. To place a Dabba tile, it must fit within your vehicle. It can be rotated and flipped as you wish. A Dabba tile can be placed on top of another one as long as it's fully supported underneath. If you wish to place a Dabba tile on a higher level, but it's not fully supported, you can use the empty Dabba tiles to fill up the gaps. Now these are worth negative points at the end of the game, so you do not want to be doing it too frequently. Once a tile has been placed, it cannot be moved on a later turn. If you start a new level, you move your level marker up to reflect it. It should always mark the highest level you currently have. Also, each tile has a half chai symbol on it. If you make a full chai symbol by placing one of these tiles on the same level, you can gain a random chai from the supply. Look at it, but keep it hidden from the other players. The end of the pickup phase ends when the card display can no longer be filled back up to 6 cards. This will happen after each player has had 13 rounds. Then, in turn order, each player will play their 2 remaining cards to take the corresponding Dabba tiles and place them onto their carts. Once all players have played all their cards and placed all their tiles, we then go to the delivery phase. Remove the 5 cards and set them aside and flip the whole board over and place the 5 cards face down on the general discard pile. Place 1 scoring marker on the 0 space of each track. Each player now counts how many tickets they have left over and gets that many tips. In this game, tips are points. During the delivery phase, all play is done simultaneously and is done over a number of rounds equal to the highest level any player has achieved on their cart. For every delivery round, all players, even ones who do not have tiles on that level, will play a card from their hand face down and add any chai tokens, if applicable. Once all players have played a card, flip them over and only look at the bottom section of each card. Adjust the scoring markers based on the cards played and any chai tokens played. A scoring marker cannot go above 4 or below 0. Next, all players that have tiles on the current level will deliver them according to the scoring markers. Multiply the number of squares in the current level of a color by the scoring marker of that color. For each empty Dabba tile on that level, you're going to be losing 2 points. Then you move your tip marker up accordingly for that level. Once all players have received their tips and taken all the tiles off the current level, move all scoring markers back to 0 and adjust your level marker down 1 step. Continue with the next scoring round in which the next level is unloaded and scored. Once all players have unloaded their carts, any unused chai tokens are worth 2 tips, and the player who is furthest along the track is the winner. Let's get back to see what I thought about Dabba Walla. Let's start off with the theme and components. First off, I must say, I love the theme, and it's reasonably integrated into the gameplay. You pick up the orders, and you get paid when you deliver them to the offices. Now, of course, if you think too much about the actual mechanisms, the theme kind of goes out the window, but I still think it's a fun and approachable theme, and almost everyone I played with asked me, what is a Dabba Walla? Now, for the components, they're standard. The cardboard's okay, the cards are okay, as is the art. That's not to say any of it is bad, it's just all okay. Nothing stands out as, oh, this is spectacular, but everything is kind of decent quality. For the gameplay, it actually ended up being even lighter than I was hoping for. The game is almost at that kind of the filler level. You're going to be playing this in between your other main games of a night or during the day, or you're just going to be playing this a few times. Now, there are many aspects of this one that I enjoyed. The first part of the game, the moving one space, but if you want to move more than one space, then you have to kind of put the tickets on the ones that you skip. I've always found that a fun mechanism. It's not new, but it's still something I enjoy. The idea that these cards are used for one half from one part, and the second half gets used later on in the game. And the top card does not correspond to the bottom. So you see here, this is blue, but it alters the green. So there's never a connection here. So collecting all the yellow pieces doesn't mean you're going to be able to score into the yellows, at least you won't be able to manipulate the yellow market. I also like that the more pieces, like the bigger the piece, the fewer the market options. So here you can see this is a 2, you get to alter 1. You go to the 4 piece ones, you can't manipulate the market at all. The polynomial building, again, looks like interesting that you're trying to manipulate your vehicle to make best use of the space. Or maybe you're trying to get those chais to match. And speaking of those chais, some of them are going to be used at the negatives as part of the second part of the game, so they can alter the market in the negative value. And some of them you're going to be using in the first part. None of them were overly interesting, but they definitely could be useful at some points. So let's shift to the second part of the game. And this one I found a little less interesting than the first part. First thing you always have to do is make sure everyone's marker is on the correct level here. I don't know how many times somebody forgot to move their marker. And then you're going to be going round after round of playing a card to manipulate the current market. All the cards played will always increase the markets. It just doesn't feel overly exciting. If I know I have no tiles on this level, then you're going to be throwing out a card that helps no one. And if you do have tiles on that level, then you're going to be playing a card that helps yourself. You're never going to be playing a cards to kind of hurt someone else. Now the chais can manipulate it somewhat, but unless that chai is going to cost another player more than 2 points, it may be better to hold on to them until the end of the game because it's worth 2 points to you. So, would I recommend this game? I don't think I would. The game is functional. Everything works. But the game is just not exciting, as I feel that it should be. I really like the theme, and I like the main ideas behind the mechanisms. I enjoyed how the kind of the now versus later aspect of the game, especially through those cards. I like that it was a quick game and fairly quick to teach. Each turn was fairly snappy. The game only lasts 30 to 40 minutes, and even at the full player count, it lasts, let's say, 45 minutes. I also thought the inclusion of the 2 modules was good. One of them I didn't really care much for. You place an extra zeros on some of the markets. Yay, less points. But the other module I did enjoy, where you set out kind of a random end-of-game scoring card. I also like the different vehicles. Here's kind of the basic vehicle. You can get this, and there's actually 2 more vehicles that you can play with. So stacking them up on here became tricky, and especially when you want to make them supported and avoid those negative end-of-game points. But unfortunately, as much as I thought I was going to enjoy these mechanisms, I just found kind of a little let down. The game for me kind of lacks any excitement. I felt that choosing the cards didn't matter as much as I hoped it would. You need to have a variety of cards for the pieces and for scoring. So unless you really, really need a certain shape to fit on your little card here, there's not a huge reason to use that kind of skip cards mechanism. And the second half of the game just kind of feels like end of game scoring just drawn really longly out. And it's just not as interesting as the first half. You know there's going to be no drastic swings to the market. You're capped at both sides, 0 to 4, and it resets each round. What you're hoping for is you're going to have one layer where you have lots of a single color, and hopefully a card that moves the market up 2 spots. then you just kind of hope for the best, because no one's going to help you with that. There's be no reason for me to give you extra points. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. I really wanted to like this one, and on paper, I thought I was going to, as it all sounded interesting. But it just didn't stand out to me. This is one of those games I don't think about after I have my play. I just play the game, probably have a decent time, then forget about it and move on. I kind of have no desire to get this one back to the table. Again, I do want to stress, this is not a bad game. If you wanted to play it, I'd sit down and play, but it's never going to be one I'm going to pull off the shelf to get to the table. But that's it for now. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.